All right, what is up, everybody? Matt Modi here with OddsJam, here to give you some of my favorite player prop bets for the NFL Divisional Round using OddsJam, using the positive expected value page to find these bets. Of course, every play that shows up here on the OddsJam Positive EV page is going to have some sort of edge over the sportsbook that you are placing the bet with. Obviously, gaining an edge over the sports books is the most important thing you can do if you want to be a profitable sports bettor, right? If you want to actually make money doing this, you need to have some sort of edge. Some people find that edge with like modeling, creating their own algorithms, and predicting scores more accurately than the sports books. That's difficult. If you can do that, more power to you. It's incredibly difficult to do. I prefer to find my edge using a tool like OddsJam, which doesn't try to be smarter than the sports books. Instead, just lets the sports books essentially work against each other and identify one book that has a mispriced line. It's kind of how everything makes sense. So I'll get right into it. The first play that we're going to go ahead and lock in here is Josh Allen under 1.5 passing touchdowns, plus 145 odds at PointsBet. Now, I know this bet probably feels gross, fading Josh Allen and betting against him throwing 2 or more touchdowns. But the data, the math, is telling you that this is a profitable bet, which I will now explain. So, number one, everything kind of comes from these no vig odds here. You see like odds ranging at plus 129. These no vig odds are pulled from the sharpest sports books in the world in terms of pricing odds. So, looking at the screen here, we see odds range from plus 115, plus 106, all the way up to plus 145. It's a pretty big gap. That's like what, a 37, 39-cent gap between all these sports books and where they're pricing odds at between Caesars and PointsBet. With a gap that large, one of these sports books has to be right and one of them has to be wrong. It doesn't make sense that both of these sports books being that far apart, they both can't accurately reflect the market that should be Josh Allen under 1.5 passing touchdowns, right? It doesn't make any sense. So with that thought in mind, that one's going to be right and one's going to be wrong, there are some sports books that are statistically and historically better than others at pricing odds. Some, just to put it simply, do a better job than others at pricing odds. So what OddsJam did, and what feeds into these no big odds here, is test thousands and thousands of previous historical betting opportunities to determine what sportsbooks consistently do the best job. So again, using data, using math to say, okay, these 5, whatever, let's call it 5, are consistently the best at pricing odds. So we're going to use them to set the market moving forward. And anywhere in which we can beat these sharp sportsbooks is going to be a profitable bet. And that's exactly what we have here with this Josh Allen one. Now, I'm guessing the first question you're going to ask me is, why would I bet on Josh Allen to go under 1.5 passing touchdowns if that's the unlikely scenario? And my answer is, it's all about the value across the betting markets, right? We're not picking winners. We're not saying, here's how you're going to win the highest percentage of your bets. If you wanted to do that, you should just bet every single favorite. You probably won't make money, but you'll win the majority of your bets. If you want to make money, you need to identify value across the markets. And there's value on Josh Allen to go under 1.5 passing touchdowns. PointsBet is giving us plus 145 odds. Now, if you open this up in a new tab, and so the VIG is the juice that sportsbooks price odds. You see these show no VIG odds button here. You just click this button, it removes the VIG from every single market, which is really cool. It's a really easy way to see the true line of where these sportsbooks are truly pricing a market at with the VIG removed. You click this button, and remember, we're betting plus 145. The plus 145 odds beats the market from pretty much every single sportsbook except for 2, right? Pinnacle has the true line at plus 130, 15 cents lower. DraftKings has it at plus 127. With that, 17 cents, 18 cents lower. Caesars has it all the way down at plus 122. And if you remember, with the VIG removed, we're getting it at plus 145. So if you can consistently beat the VIG of the majority of the sportsbooks, including the sharp ones, like Pinnacle, to a lesser extent, DraftKings specifically for player props, that is how you can make money in the long run. It feels gross betting against Josh Allen, betting on him to throw 2 or fewer touchdowns, but upsets happen all the time. I bet not a lot of people had the Jags winning when they were down 27-0. The data, or the win percentage of the Jags was very, very low. They still came back and won. Upsets happen all the time. And if you can correctly identify plus money betting opportunities that hit, your win percentage needs to be a lot lower, which is a much easier way to make money. So regardless, play one. We're looking at Josh Allen under 1.5 passing touchdowns. Promise I won't spend that long talking about every single play. Next up, this has actually already been mentioned in a previous YouTube video, but talking about it again on this one, Dallas Goedert over 47.5 passing yards. It's still available, so still going to be a really good play. No big line on this one is at about -117. And then for a yardage play like this, what I like to do is if you open this event page in a new tab, so right now we see where every sportsbook prices the over and under 47.5, right? Well, not every book is going to have his over under at 47.5. Since we're taking him to go over, we want to make sure that the sportsbooks that don't have it at 47.5 have it higher. So let's check that out. Let me zoom out. Excuse me, just a little bit here. So we're taking Dallas Goedert to go over 47.5 passing yards. Every book that prices it at this number heavily juices it towards the over. Some more than others, like DraftKings all the way at -140, Pinnacle at -126. But look at the rest of the sports books. And Pinnacle is this number right here, OddsJam line, Pinnacle. But look at every other book and where they price it. 48.5, we see 4 books price it at 48.5, including some DFS companies. That's 1 yard higher. We see a couple books price it at 49.5. That would be FanDuel. And this book down here is FoxBet, price it at 49.5. We see some have it 3 yards higher at 50.5. That would be PointsBet. And then we see 4 yards higher, 51.5 at WinBet. And this is BetOnline right here. BetOnline being another sharp sportsbook that we use to set markets. So not only does every sportsbook that prices it at 47.5 heavily favor him going over this number, but the sportsbooks that don't price it at 47.5 price it above 47.5. So no matter how you slice it, every book is telling you, except for Bet365, how likely Dallas Goedert is to have 48 or more receiving yards, making him a really good player prop to bet. So that's our second play. Next up, we are heading to the Cowboys versus 49ers game, and we are taking Dak Prescott to throw for over 1.5 passing touchdowns at +100 odds. Was moving a little too quick there. The OddsJam perfect line prices this at -106. We are getting it at +100. And for a play that's at +100, I really like it because that basically means 50-50. If you win exactly 50% of your bets at +100 odds, you will break even. If you win more than 50% of your bets, you will profit. And it's really easy to tell what side the sportsbook favors, right? What side do they have more expensive? Let's look at Pinnacle. They price the over at -116. They price the under at -114. They have the over as the more expensive option. That is Pinnacle Sportsbook telling you that the over is the more likely scenario. That's why they price it at more expensive. They think it's more likely, so they make it more expensive to buy. As does BetOnline, sharp sportsbook. As does DraftKings, Bet365, Caesars, and PointsBet. The only book that doesn't, Tipico, which has it at 50-50, BetRivers, which doesn't favor it, and then the bet we're placing at +100. Really, really good play here. Dak Prescott to go over 1.5 passing touchdowns at +100 odds. So this is my third pick for this video. My fourth one, Jalen Hurts over 20.5 passing completions. No big odds on this one at about -105. The logic being pretty much the exact same. Pretty much every book favors him going over. We're getting it at +100 odds. So we can easily tell, okay, do the sportsbooks favor the over or the under? If they favor the over, that's good for us. Pinnacle, over at -127, under at -104. Heavily favoring it, as does BetOnline at -118 versus -110. As does Tipico, DraftKings, Bet365, and Caesars. The only book that doesn't is PointsBet, which has it at a 50-50 outcome either way. Bet number 4, Jalen Hurts over 20.5 completions, +100 odds at BetRivers. And then I have, I believe, one more. Joe Burrow to go over 1.5 passing touchdowns. So same game as the Bills versus Bengals. In this case, we're taking Burrow to go over his passing yardage or passing touchdown prop and Josh Allen to go under. Minus 115 at PointsBet, excuse me. No big odds of minus 120. Pretty much across the board. Minus 143, minus 130, minus 135, minus 142. Really good play here as my fifth and final pick for this video. The plays that I didn't lock in, like a lot here at the bottom, I didn't deem them as good enough outliers across the betting markets to bet. So I wanted to be selective, make sure that I believe I am placing the best of the best and not placing the ones that aren't as big of an outlier. So got some bets for you guys to lock in for the NFL Divisional Round. If you're tailing these, comment, let me know. Would love to hear it. Other than that, if you enjoy these videos, it would help me out a ton if you were to like the video, subscribe, and then of course comment. And then if you want to find me on social media, you can at my Twitter handle you see on the screen here. No, it's this way, at Jedi Modi. But that's it. So appreciate everybody watching and have a good one.